Am I audible now? Yes. Okay, good morning everyone. Good morning, good afternoon ka time ho gaya. I've lost track. I've lost track because I was so engulfed with what you were saying. That was such a fantastic way to start the session. So congratulations everybody, all of you fantastic women and the men that are here supporting all these fantastic women. Congratulations. And I am extremely inspired by everything that all of you guys are doing here. But ma'am, coming back to your question, because I'm an actor, बहुत often ये होता है ना कि people underestimate you. They think यार क्या होगा, ये बस जाते हैं, hair makeup कर लेते हैं, कपड़े पहन लेते हैं और चले जाते हैं. They don't realize the work and the effort that goes behind it. There's a lot of effort that goes behind it. And I often see within my fraternity, a lot of my colleagues have chosen a different path. But those girls are categorized. कि नहीं यार ये तो सिर्फ she just dances in films. So who are you to give her that category, and why are you undermining her? Does that mean she does not work hard? She works hard. She takes care of herself. She's earning a living for herself. So who are you here to character assassinate her? And I always say this time and again that okay, people tell me this very often that you're a serious working actor. Everybody, all my colleagues are serious working actors. So this often happens, and I see many women do this. This is something that you will also address. I see many women do this where we are unconsciously, because it's generations of social conditioning, where we unconsciously make very irresponsible comments, towards our fellow sisters, without realizing that one comment is going to pull her back. So I say this time and again that we all are part of the problem. So we have to be very careful about what we are saying. So as you said that, do I face the challenge specifically because of my profession, where people underestimate my intelligence, my intellect, my intellectual abilities all the time? As I mentioned to you earlier, my sister and I, we've been trying to set up a business for some time now. We have tried various things, and most times we came across men at places of power. Our biggest problem then was they just assumed and started mansplaining us. It's a word that I'd heard a lot of fellow women, share their experiences with me, where without even starting a discussion with me, the gentleman in front of me just gave me a lowdown of stuff that I already know, assuming that I don't know it. You know, so I can only imagine that even though I would like to say in the most humblest way that I might have a little more privilege because I'm an individual, I'm an actor. So for whatever I have equity and credibility I have created, I think I get a place in rooms a little more easily. But trust me, my struggles are the same as yours. And that's why I'm on this podium today, because I feel it's so important for all of us to share our experiences, to uplift each other. Because when I heard you talk, there was so much that you said that I completely resonated with. Because I feel like as women, irrespective of our social, from where we belong, there are certain experiences that we all share. And that's why the sisterhood is so important that exists today. I'm often asked this question when I'm doing like press for a film of mine, or like, generally, what would your next character want to be? Like, who would you want to play? And I'm always like, I want to play a woman that contributed to the freedom struggle. How many of us know of those stories? We don't, because it's only the men from those times that are celebrated. And it breaks my heart. And I have gone and I've researched. And the fact is that women have equally contributed to our independence today. But we don't speak about it. Now, today, as I sit here as an individual, do I want the same fate for generations 7 decades from now? No. So what you rightly said is that we don't have enough stories that we celebrate. A woman in my ecosystem. Okay, I'm an actor, so people speak about my achievements. But what I do instead is I go speak about my mother's achievements, because she was an achiever, but nobody celebrated her, and she was my role model. And people need to know what she's done in life, because I'm a byproduct of that. I celebrate my sister. I celebrate other colleagues of mine. So I would like to start my answer by saying that anybody who believes that climate change is not real is really living under a rock. It is the largest looming threat to humanity. Through my research, because I have been a passionate advocate and I have been working a lot in the field, and through my research, I have realized that in this case as well, when there is a climate change related effect, an adverse effect, it is the women that are the most affected. Because women globally, and it really hurts my heart to say this, are the most vulnerable, marginalized community globally. When there is a natural disaster, when there is a drought, when there is a flood, it is the women that are the most affected and the children. When I would read articles that, in parts of India, women actually went through an operation where they decided to remove their uterus because they could not sustain, because there was a drought in that area. That's when I started thinking, I'm like, we are the caretakers. We take care of our children, we take care of our fields. We make 70% of the labored workers in our country. Yet nobody comes up to us and asks us, what do you think is the problem? So how do women contribute, and how can this change when we have women in places of power that are making policies for us? Because only they know, they can understand and empathize with our problems. And secondly, when we go to these women that are actually dealing with the problem, that actually now have to walk maybe 3 kilometers extra because the wells in their village have dried up, where they are now going to other states to work because there's a drought in their state and now they can't sustain taking care of their own farming land. If we go to these women and we ask them, what are your experiences? Because women in rural India have always lived a sustainable life. When I look at my grandmother, as you rightly said, my mother's from Haryana. When I would look at my grandmother, she was one strong woman and she was empowered. So I completely resonated with what you said. But if I go back to the way she lived, the fact that वो अपना गीला कचरा अलग करती थी, सूखा कचरा अलग करती थी, वो प्लास्टिक नहीं यूज करती थी, or whatever her practices were, she was so thoughtful about the food that she was putting onto the table, about the food not being wasted. Obviously she had her own circular economy in her house. How do we implement those things? And that can only happen if we go to these women and we include them on panels, we include them on juries, we include their experiences. Because the truth of the matter is, as you said, any problem or any progress that can happen in this world needs to happen with a 50% representation. When you don't have that, nobody is going to empathize with you. And just becoming a mother does not make you weak. It actually makes you stronger. You will never... The problem is that parenthood is not taken as a shared effort. So I feel that the moment that changes, where parenthood is taken as a shared effort, for a woman to come back to work would not be difficult. I'm not taking away from the fact that, she does go through physiological changes. We also need to respect that. Because what often happens is that in this path of becoming equals, we don't realize that physiologically I am different than a man. And I need to respect that. I see so often, recently there's been a lot of conversation about menstrual break. I support it because, I am somebody who as an actor go through immense pain when I start my period. But people are so uncomfortable. When I was on a set one day and I could not take it. I had to go tell a director of mine. He was in shock. He was so uncomfortable that I actually had the word period and, I'm bleeding and my stomach is hurting. But it was true because I kept popping painkillers, but I just couldn't do it. Why should I put my body through that? I've literally seen, and please, I believe in equality, but I have seen people, men in my ecosystem that get a little bruise and it's doomsday. And it's fine. We are equally responsible for it, right? Because we have always nurtured our boys in a way कि मेरे राजा बेटा अगर गिर गया तो हम क्या करेंगे? It's okay, But I'm also fortunate to have enough men around me that are evolved enough to actually go to a chemist and buy me a sanitary napkin or tampons, because my first one came from my father. You know, so I am fortunate to be born in that ecosystem. But having said that, we need to understand that I'm physiologically different than you, and you need to respect that. But that does not mean that I'm weaker. That does not mean that I'm not going to be as driven as you are about my work, or me becoming a mother, or me having any kind of health issue is going to take me back. I'm as capable as you are, and that's what we need to keep advocating time and again. Aisha. You know, I think I got lucky that I started with this. It wasn't my plan. I didn't have an option. You know, I was like, okay, you always want to be an actor. You don't necessarily have a structure that will give you this opportunity easily. I'm not a conventional beauty for India, for Bollywood films. Kya karu? This film came, I jumped on it. I honestly did not realize what I'm going to get out of this film. At that moment, I only wanted to be an actor. I had an opportunity. I was like, grab it.
So you've already answered my next question. I said, being honest, yes or no? Now you said honestly, honestly 3 times. So you think it is good to be honest? Yes or no?
No, not always. Sorry?
I think you glow inside out.
Thank you so much. But okay, I'm not honest all the time. I'm just going to
Life isn't black or white.
It's always grey for me.
You're wearing grey.
Absolutely.
Yes. Okay, good. The next question also you answered earlier. I was going to ask you, do you believe in period leaves? Tell me, we all know that you work out. And I keep telling women that our problem is that we do not take out time for ourselves. One workout tip that you would want to give to everybody?
I think let's start simple. You know, working out is definitely important for your physical health, but it's also important for your mental health. It's the only time you'll get your me time where you can disconnect and actually feel positive things happening to your body. 15 minute karo, 20 minute karo, lekin karo, and you will see how much your productivity, your self-confidence.
How should women prioritize themselves?
How should?
In 2 lines.
By putting themselves first and understanding that सब कुछ हो जाएगा अगर आप strong हो.
There is this typical feeling of, you know, life stands on me. You know, if I'm not going to be there, then what is going to happen? And that's why we run all the time. My mom told me very early in my life that, you know, 𝗙𝗽 की ज़रूरत सबको होती है, and that's the reason why you sustain, because everybody wants their work to be done by someone else, and usually it's a woman, right? So, so every time you feel that, oh, I'm running the world, it is usually not so. You are extremely indispensable. You get changed. My children grow up even if I'm not there. Very spiritually, are you a spiritual person, yes or no? Okay, very spiritually, tell me this, that do you feel that the world revolves around you?
Okay. The narcissist in me definitely does. But I think I would like to believe that I am an important contributor to the ecosystem. But will it crash if I'm not there? No. You know, because the world goes on.
The advice that you would want to give to these women sitting right in front of you?
Prioritize yourself. Number one, most important. There will be a lot of no's, there will be a lot of chatter. You're only going to have, at most times, people pull you down. But you have to listen to that one gut instinct in your head that always kept telling you, do it, and do it now, because time will go and they'll be too late. So just do it. 10 गलतियां करोगे, 10 बार फेल होगे, पर एक बार होगा जब आप पास होगे और उसका फल इतना बड़ा होगा कि आपको जो एक खुशी मिलती है ना ऑफ इंडिपेंडेंस, जो एक खुशी मिलती है ना that I'm not dependent on anybody, I am today capable of taking care of myself. There's nothing more fulfilling than that feeling.
One last question. I wanted to be, you know, taking that question from the audience, but this question is from all of them. A lot of women here have products, services, companies which are doing exceedingly well. Some need money, some need investors. If tomorrow one of these women come to you saying that, you know, endorse my product, endorse my service, or become my partner, do you think you're going to be open for that?
Oh, absolutely. If it's something that I resonate with 100%, and I've done that in the past. You know, the idea is also, as a person who is in a place of certain influence, it is also my way to make sure that the businesses that I invest in are sustainable, are green. And most times, I try my level best to at least support as many women-led businesses as I can.
Shweta ma'am, I request you to felicitate Ms. Pednekar with a small gift to extend our gratitude.
All the women, please join us. Shetali, don't take pictures. Please come. Come.
Thank you so much. I request one of the CEWE members to escort Ms. Bhumi